All righty, we'll go ahead and get started. Well, welcome everybody, and my fellow Americans headed to Spain. You are in great company. There are quite literally thousands of us right now currently considering a move there. So we're really lucky to have Raquel with us, an expert on all things immigration to Spain, to talk us through how to get there. Just a quick housekeeping, you guys are already on mute, that's great. Please stay on mute until the Q&A. We are recording this webinar for those who couldn't make it. And we know this is a breakfast and lunchtime for lots of you stateside. So please just stay on mute until the Q&A at the end. Obviously, then we'd love it if you came off mute and asked your questions. Cynthia, our marketing lead, also pulled a couple of questions from those who couldn't make it, so we'll go through those at the end as well. So quick, just recap of what we're going to do. It's going to be short and sweet. I'll do an introduction of who Raquel and I are, hand it over to her to cover the visa pathways available in Spain for U.S. citizens, and we'll close out with a Q&A. So who are we? I'm Ian. I'm the founder of Lotalingo, a global mobility marketplace, and we are super lucky to have Raquel here with us today, an immigration lawyer in Spain. She has over 20 years of experience across corporate and individual law in the Spain and EU, so truly an expert on all things cross-border and mobility. So with that, Raquel, I will kick it over to you.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you to Lotalingo for inviting us to talk about immigration to Spain. So let's start. What we are going to do is we're going to offer some, background on the Spanish immigration systems and immigration data, followed by the most, visa categories. Most popular visa categories for individual relocating to Spain. We'll see qualifying criteria, the main steps of the process, and also some red flags to take into account. So let's start with some immigration data so that you know a little bit more about the background in Spain, the immigration background in Spain that we have now. Basically, this is, you can see here the evolution of the residence permit issued between 2014 to 2024. So as you can see, from 2014 to 2017, more or less, there was a stable growth. But then there is an increase from 2018. What happened on 2018? We have a new Labour government. They are pro-migrants, pro-immigration. And despite the drop during the pandemic, they managed to increase, from 2018 to 2019. There is a little bit of growth in 2020, but then we can see exponential growth to the point that now, in 2024, we have around 1,600,000, of residence permit issued to foreign nationals. And not only that, this year, 2 weeks ago, this Labour government has announced a mass regularization, which means that anyone who is undocumented in the country and arrived before the 31st of December and have been at least 5 months in Spain at the time the window is open. It's going to be 3 months, during which, from April to June, they are going to be able to apply for a residence document to legalize the situation. So that you know that Spain is, at the moment, is quite open to immigration, both wealthy individuals or people who have for humanitarian reasons, but is obviously also a very popular country in terms of tourism and quality of life, and also is in the Schengen area. Certain residence permit can give you access to other European countries. So definitely it's a good choice that you come to Spain. So basically, we're going to go to the main visa categories for individuals who want to relocate to Spain. I think Ian mentioned that a few of you were interested in the digital nomad visa and the non-lucrative visa. In fact, these are, I would say, the most popular for individuals, because you don't need like a corporate sponsor. For the digital nomad visa, well, this is a new visa category that was like implemented in Spain only 3 years ago after the pandemic. There was more people working remotely, and also Spain saw the advantage of attracting more people to live in Spain, and economically will be also an advantage because it's an attractive country from the point of view of tourism and quality of life. So they decided to come to create this type of visa, the digital nomad visa. The qualifying criteria, you can see them here. Obviously, this is just for any of you who is, employed or self-employed in a company outside Spain and is allowed to work remotely from Spain. If this is the case, then you have to prove that you have university degree or 3 years of experience in the position that you are going to carry out while you are working remotely from Spain, that you have been employed by that company for 3 months, or you have a professional relationship with that company for at least 3 months, that company has been operating abroad for at least 1 year. If you are employed, and if you want to continue to be employed as a remote worker in Spain, usually with the US, we will request that you apply for the Social Security Certificate of Coverage, because otherwise the company will need to open an account to pay Social Security for you in Spain. So that's why it's very, very important that you apply for the USA1, which basically means that you are still paying Social Security in the US while being residing in Spain. If you manage to get the Social Security certificate, you might be able to get the digital nomad visa as an employee, provided that you meet at least and the rest of the requirements. For self-employed who has a professional relationship with a company abroad, there is no other option than paying Social Security in Spain. You will need to register if you are self-employed, and you will need to be subject to any rules for self-employment in Spain. The advantage for self-employed who is a remote worker on a digital nomad visa is that is allowed to work to receive up to 20% of your income from services provided to Spanish companies, because usually when you work remotely, you are not allowed to work for Spanish companies. However, this is like an exemption if you are self-employed on a digital nomad visa for Spain. The last requirement you can see here is the salary threshold. That is 34,188. Basically, it's 200 the minimum Spanish wage. And then you can also bring family members. The first one will be 75% of the annual minimum wage, and then every subsequent dependent will be 25%. So if you are thinking about bringing your family, by all means, let me know. I can pass you the specific calculations according to the family members that you will bring to Spain. So this is more or less all about the digital nomad visa. Well, another important thing I don't want to forget, because it's really, really important, is that the digital nomad visa, if applied in Spain while you are visiting Spain, it will be given for 3 years. After 3 years, you can renew it for another 2 years, and after these 2 years, you can apply for permanent residency. After 5 years of residing in Spain, you can apply for permanent residency. So it's also a path that leads to permanent residency, and this is obviously a very important point if you want to relocate to Spain long term. Well, this is the first option I would say for at the moment. It's so popular. It's even the second most issued visa after the highly qualified route for corporate employees. But basically, if you have any other question about the digital nomad visa, we also have a recording that we can share with you, and we will with you how to share after the webinar. Well, the second visa that is very, very popular for individuals wanting to relocate to Spain is the non-lucrative visa. As the name indicates, it's important that you are not allowed to work in Spain with this visa. However, something else that is important that you know, if this is the option you are thinking to choose, is that it's important that you are not working either in your country at the time that we made the application. So basically, you are not working in the US, and you will not be working in Spain. This is very, very important that you understand. The consulate will request proof that you are a retiree and you receive a pension, or that you are on a sabbatical, or that you are no longer an employee. It's very important that you are not active in your country. Obviously, you will need to sustain yourself with financial means, and at the moment the requirement is to show 28,800 euros per year, and 2,200 per family member. You can also bring your family member, and this is the amount they're requesting per family member. It is also important that you pay for a private health insurance, which will depend, the cost of if you have pre-existing conditions or your age. But if you need us to recommend a broker, just by all means let us know, and we're happy to help as well. A new requirement for the non-lucrative visa that was introduced by the last regulation 6 months ago is that it's important that you spend in Spain at least 183 days to be able to renew your visa. This visa is only given for 1 year, so it's important that you take that into account. After 1 year, you have to submit an application for another 2 years. And after those 2 years, a second application for another 2 years. Only after you have met the 5 years of residence, you can apply for permanent residency. So that obviously, compared to the digital nomad visa, this is a bit more, has a little bit more work to do in Spain, because you have to renew it twice. Then I have included also the student visa for all those who might want to do some studies, being able to register in a educational establishment in Spain. There are different options, as you can see, 5 different options. You can also be doing volunteering or training activities, or be part of a student program. But the most advantageous is the first one, is when you manage to be registered and be admitted by a higher educational establishment to do university studies, because also once you get the student visa, you can work part-time in Spain. The duration of the student visa is also more limited. It's not like the digital nomad visa is limited to 1 year, except for full-time higher education, which is given for the duration of the studies, and it can be extended twice. And just finally, so you have an idea, I'm not going to go through it, but I included at the end the options for highly qualified employees to work in Spain, because it could be that you get to Spain on a non-lucrative visa, but because they don't allow work, and if you are still in working age, you may want to switch to a highly qualified visa or to an EU blue card. Basically, the highly qualified visa, we have 2 types of qualified visas, highly qualified visas, the national scheme and the EU blue card, which is basically a residence permit that is given also to highly qualified employees. You have to have certain qualifications, but the advantage that it gives you is that it might allow to work in other EU countries following certain period of time. But it's not really the time now to get into the details about that. But if anyone wants to know more about that, we can discuss separately. Okay. So I think for now, for For the visa categories, and we have already explained the most important points. But it's also important that you know what are the steps of the process. So here you can see that we have mentioned here a few of the visa types that we have in the previous slide, and we have mentioned here application in Spain. And this is the reason is because certain categories of visas can be applied when you are visiting Spain. So basically, if you want to become a digital nomad, if you want to study in a higher education institution, or apply for a highly qualified EU Blue Card, you can enter the country, and then while you are in Spain, we can submit the application. The 4 steps are here. Obviously, first of all, and before we make the application, it's important we start working on gathering your documents. You have to take into account that in Spain, unfortunately, you need to submit all the documents legalized or apostille, translated by an official translator into Spanish. And I would say that gathering documents, you have to leave at least, you have to factor in at least, I would say, the lead time of 1 or 2 months before we are even able to submit the application. But once we have all the documents and we are happy with them, we will let you know. And then we will agree with you that you can visit Spain. Once you have entered Spain, on your 90 days, obviously, you have to make sure that you are always within your 90 days in any 180-day period in the Schengen area. So you send us your entry stamp, and we will submit the residence application online while you are on your visitor status, right? The application, the legal time frame, the authorities have only 20 working days to resolve it, so it's quite fast. They usually come back to us after 15 working days. So basically, that you know that it could be possible. They request additional evidence, and they give us another 10 working days. But all in all, I would say 30 working days approx, once we have submitted the application. So it's quite fast because it's handled through the a special immigration department that also deals with corporate immigration applications and entrepreneurs and, any type of visa they consider of the economic interest for Spain. Then we also have, finally, once you have, if hopefully we have got your visa, your residence granted, you have to attend an appointment at the police station, and you have to put your fingerprints, and then you will need to go twice, once to put your fingerprints and apply for your residence card, and another time just to collect your residence card. So hopefully everything will go well and you will be happy. If you have applied for a digital nomad visa, you will get a residence card for 3 years. And obviously, well, it's a big advantage that you don't need to renew every year. So the second slide, this is the process that we say for the digital nomad when you apply in Spain. There is also the possibility for the digital nomad to apply at the Spanish consulate abroad, but we don't tend to recommend this option, not only because it's difficult to work with consulates and they never provide us with clarified criteria, and they may not be very good at understanding digital nomads, but also because the visa applied at the consulate is only given for 1 year. And if you choose the previous option that we mentioned, if you come to Spain and apply for the residence directly while you are on your legal status as visitor, you can get it for 3 years. And that's why we don't really tend to recommend this option. But that it's also available through your Spanish consulate corresponding to your place of residence. And the important thing from here is that that the non-lucrative visa can only be applied at the Spanish consulate abroad, there is no option for you to go to Spain and apply for a non-lucrative visa. This is the only option. You have to follow these steps. Again, gathering documents, I would say 1-2 months. An important point and red flag here is booking your appointment. There are certain consulates, like the Spanish consulate in New York, that will request, that is giving appointments after 3 months to apply for for a non-lucrative visa. So it's important that we start working a long time in advance. The processing time for a digital nomad visa is 10 working days. And for a non-lucrative visa is between 2 to 3 months, more or less, depending on the consulate. And once you obtain your, in the case of the non-lucrative visa, when you obtain it, then you have to also enter Spain and apply for your residence card. In Spain, they will always be required to go to the police station to get a final card, which is your residence document. So I think this is all I want to talk about, more focus on the digital nomad visa and the non-lucrative visa. There are a few red flags here to conclude this webinar. It's basically the fact that you take into account that all public documents have to be apostille legalized and translated into Spanish by an official translator. Not all the translations are valid. The translation has to be done by a specific authorized translator by the Foreign Ministry. Important is also to have the lead time factoring, time enough to gather all those documents that are required for the application. The criminal record certificate of the FBI in the US is also important to take into account that you will need to have it legalized and translated. If you are applying for a digital nomad visa, it's only required for countries where residing in the last 2 years, but if you are applying for the non-lucrative visa, you will need to have it for the countries where residing in the last 5 years. Only for those who have residing in more than one country. If you just resided in the US, it's the same for both digital nomad visa or non-lucrative visa. And the last, my last piece of advice is that you always take into account that in Spain, Social Security is very important. It's linked to the immigration status that you have. If you commit to be self-employed in Spain and you have to register with the Social Security, you have to do it. Or the authorities, there is a connection between, internal connection between the immigration authorities, the Social Security authorities, also the labor authorities. And if they notice you haven't been registered, they will extinguish your application. This is something that is different in the UK, in the US, but in Spain, like in many other European countries, the immigration authorities belong to the labor authorities. And so everything that is Social Security, labor, and immigration is all linked. And it's important to be compliant with Social Security and with taxes. If you need tax advice, we know a couple of partners that can help you as well with that. I think that's all from me, Ian, if you want to continue.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Raquel. That was a great overview. Obviously, there's a lot more detail, I think, to go into here. If you'd like, you can book a consultation by navigating to this link below on laudalingo.com. All right, folks. Well, if there's no other questions from you all, feel free to follow up with me. You can find me here. I'll just drop my email address. You can also find Raquel at the aforementioned link here. Thank you so much for joining. We really hope this is helpful. And yeah, I'll just echo my comments at the beginning, which is, there are literally thousands of Americans considering moving to Spain. You're not alone in this. So yeah, feel free to reach out to us for any questions that you might have. And Raquel, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate your time.
No problem. Thank you so much, Ian, to you. And thanks everyone for attending the webinar. Have a lovely evening or morning over there.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye-bye.